What's up, YouTube? The Assist Man, and I'm back on Black Ops 2, Nuketown, Call of Duty, and the title of this video is something that a lot of people have been asking me about for a long time, and I started off this game with that triple for my nipple, but a lot of people have been asking me for months now, how can you be a better Call of Duty player? How can you be a good Call of Duty player? Is there anything you can tell me to be a good Call of Duty player? Well, in this video, that's what the topic is. I'm going to give you guys the tips and tricks on how to be a better or a good Call of Duty player. Now, first of all, let's get this right out the way. Not everybody could be a good Call of Duty player. You're either born with the skills or you're not. It's just like, how I said this in previous videos in the past. I don't know how to work on cars. I can't change a carburetor. I can't change brake pads. But I'm a good Call of Duty player. I'm a good first-person shooter player. Now, I guarantee you that same person that's really good at working on cars is not a good Call of Duty player, and he's not a good first-person shooter player. Some people are just good at certain things, and some people are not. So don't let that discourage you from actually playing the game and having fun. But these things I can tell you can definitely make you a better player if you adjust your game to, use these tips. So, certain tips I can give you. Know the type of player you are. If you're a bad player, don't screw your team. If you know that you constantly go negative every map and you guys are losing because you're like 4-15, slow down your game. Maybe hide, maybe use an LMG or a sniper rifle. Don't put yourself right up there in the field of fire so you constantly keep dying, because if you do that, all you're going to do is you're going to cost your team the win. And you don't want to single-handedly cost your team the win. So know the type of player you are, know your role. If you're having a bad game, maybe sit back and shoot UAVs down out the sky, run support for your team. If you're playing kill confirm, maybe you're the guy that wants to run around and confirm tags or deny tags. If you're playing domination, maybe you could be the guy that guards the flags or captures the flags. If you're playing capture the flag, maybe you're the person that guards your flag or that runs and gets the enemy flag. Or if you're playing hardpoint, maybe you're the person anchoring for your team to go ahead and make sure you get the spawns for the next hardpoint. Those are all things you can do to still help your team, even if you're not a good player. So know your role, know the type of player you are. Second tip, use a silencer. There's all but 2 of my classes that I use to have silencers on them. Silencers are very important in this game because when you shoot, you don't show up on the enemy's map. So it gives you that element of surprise. And you want to try to stay as stealthy in the game as you possibly can. You want to try to creep up behind people and kill them, and if there's another enemy next to them, them not knowing where you're at. And by having a silencer, you can do that. The only time I say not to use a silencer is if you know that you're a really, really good player and you know that you could play without a silencer, and the silencer is only going to hold up another attachment spot for you, so you don't want to use a silencer. So you're good enough to play without using a silencer. But still, I'd say a good 90% of the time when I play, I'm using a silencer. The only classes that I don't use a silencer on are my AN94 class and my MSMC class. With the exception of that, every other class that I use a silencer. And a silencer is very, very important. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't use a silencer because it takes down your damage and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it does, a little bit. But what you have to realize, it's only going to take down your damage if you're shooting people from far away. Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time in Call of Duty, all of your gunfights and the times you kill people are going to be up close. You're going to be killing people within 10 to 15 feet of you. So the damage ain't really going to make that much of a difference that you're losing by having a silencer. So definitely use a silencer. The next tip I can give you might be the biggest and most important tip in this game. Stay next to walls and stay out of the middle of the map. If you notice my gameplays, and you notice this gameplay, and all the gameplays I do, you can see I constantly stay in cover. And that's the main tip. When you're running around the map, don't just run out in the middle of maps all the time, because you're just going to be easy pickings for the enemy team. Stay next to walls. If you're running around in the middle of maps, you can be shot from the left, the right, the front, or the back. But if you're running through the middle of the map, but you're using the right-hand side of the wall for protection, you eliminate one of those areas that you can be shot from. So now you only have the capability to be shot from 75% of the areas of the map instead of 100. So that decreases the amount of bullets you can take, thus increasing your life and, the chances that you're not going to get killed by somebody else. So when you're running around the map, try to stay out of the middle of the map. That's very, very important, because all you're going to do is get picked off. Use the pathways of the map that are designed to actually get around. Always use the sides of the map. Stay on the left side, stay on the right side, stay underneath, things like that. If you're going through the middle, stay around the obstructions inside of the middle, like buses and statues and things like that. Always try to keep one side of your body next to a wall. And don't run in the middle of the map. That's like the biggest tips I can give you, is if you want to stay alive longer, definitely do that. Next tip I can definitely give you is your score streaks. Make sure that you use score streaks that you actually can get. There's plenty of times I play with players that use score streaks that they can't actually get. So if you're constantly running warthogs and escort drones and swarms and things like that because you think it's cool, but you never get them, don't use them, because all you're doing is hurting your team, holding back your team, and holding back yourself. If you know that you could only probably get maybe a 3 or 4 or 5 kill streak going without dying, then use things like a UAV or use things like a Hellstorm missile or a care package. Don't use higher kill streaks that you know that you're never going to get. And that's another important thing, is make sure that if you know you can't get higher kill streaks, to use the UAV. The UAV is a very underrated score streak. It helps you out tremendously, and it helps your team out tremendously. When you have a bunch of people on your team constantly popping out UAVs, you constantly know where the team is at, so it helps out more than you think. The next tip I can give you, use guns that you're good with. Find the guns that work for you. If you like the AN-94 like I do, use that gun. If you like the MP7 like I do, use that gun. Don't experiment with a bunch of different guns and get yourself killed. The biggest tip I can give you when choosing a gun to use is to use a gun that you like, that you can use with the iron sights. You see how I use this AN-94? I don't have no red dot on it. I don't have no ACOG on it because I like the iron sights. And why I say use a gun with iron sights, because then if you use a gun that has iron sights, you free up an attachment slot by not having to use a red dot or a holographic or an ACOG scope. So then you can use attachments that really help you out a lot. Like me on this AN-94 right now, I use the quick draw handle, and I use the extended magazine. But if I had another gun that I didn't like the sight on and I couldn't aim good with the sight, then I would probably use a red dot. So that's very, very important. Make sure you use a gun that has iron sights. Don't use the red dots. Don't use the ACOGs. Find a gun that you're good at aiming with. Aim is everything in this game. And if you could find a gun with iron sights that you can aim well with, that right there is going to be your bread and butter. Another tip, don't camp. Stay mobile, because if you camp, and especially if you don't use a silencer, the enemy's constantly going to know where you're at. Or if you don't move, then the person that you just killed is going to come back, know where you're at, and come and kill you. So camping doesn't really work in this game. So stay mobile. That gives you that opportunity to run around the map so the enemies won't know where you're at. Next tip, perks. Make sure you use perks that actually help you. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of the best perks to use in Black Ops 2 are toughness. Toughness is going to reduce your flinch when you're shot, so it's going to keep your aim on your enemy a lot better. Use dexterity. Dexterity is going to let you climb up walls and climb up things faster and mantle up ladders faster. It's important when you're trying to get away from people that you can move out of the way faster. And the next perk to use, lightweight. Lightweight lets you move around faster so you can dodge bullets faster and kill people faster. Also, play game types that you're good at. If you're good at domination, play that. If you know you suck at kill confirmed because you're always running out, getting killed, taking tags, don't play it. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment, and if you have not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I went 51-8. I had a great game. Anyway, YouTube, this is the Assist Man, and I'm out.